Shemai GTA chums! I've won the Anis Euros prize ride, so I'm going to be reviewing it today to get you a bit of a feel for what this car's all about. And I'm going to go through customization, and then I'm going to take you through some of the race characteristics, both on the test track and even a bit of a race. Maybe I'll try some drifting as well. So, here we go, eyes down looking. This is a customization. All the engine upgrades, turbo, have been upgraded to the max. I've sped all this up because I don't think this is the exciting bit about the car. Now, you can use the tabs below to fast forward if you fancy, because you know this is all aesthetic. It's all personal enjoyment, isn't it? But it is a great looking car. It's based on the Nissan 350Z. Now, I've changed it from green to pink, hot pink, metallic, and that's because I think the green just looks tragic, whereas the car needs a vibrant colour. It's shouting out to me about bling, and I should have even put some strip lights on the bottom, but I haven't. I haven't put strip lights on any of my Los Santos tuners cars, funnily enough. Now, interior-wise, we're not doing interior, we're doing the roof. There's absolutely no reason to mess around with the roof. The front of it, apparently, is the 370 Nismo. So there you go, front bumper. There's a bit of a fact there, thanks to Reddit and Googling images. You know, if I'd have been clever, I'd have put a Google image in there. Maybe I will have by the time I've finished editing, eh? Yeah, wheels, I went for the latest one to be unlocked for myself, and yellow atomics, that's what we like. Jackal Racing, I think that is the best livery. We already look through the liveries. For this, I want a dark colour, so purple to go with my secondary colour of purple. Shafter purple there. Here's the interior, that's what I was looking for. There's no digital display, alas. I think that would have suited this car more because it's a more modern car. I'm sure the 350Z. I don't actually know a lot about the 350Z, to be quite honest. I may have driven one, but it wasn't a memorable car if I did drive one. So I have driven the Subaru Impreza WRX. That's a nice car. Crap interior. Okay, so here we are on the test track. We're doing the actual driving here. So this is a competition suspension and a bit of a spin there, so not supreme. Cornering handling is pretty good on it, and on this test track I just couldn't put a finger on something. You know, it's when you get a feel, and I couldn't figure out if I've just not driven it enough, but I did a lot of laps, quite a lot of laps to get to this stage, and I just wasn't feeling the speed. It wasn't having the acceleration at all, so I was thinking that we're in kind of Remus territory at this stage. Nothing like the RS that I reviewed the other day, which is definitely the superior car at this stage. Nevertheless, it's still worth winning for sure, just for looks value. However, let's keep on seeing how we do here. It might not be too bad. You know, who knows? Yeah, 59.91, so just below a minute. So it does beat the Remus by quite a portion, by a second. But it's below the Comet S2 by a far way, so it's not looking competitive with the big boys or big girls, to be quite honest. And I got depressed. I was driving in the city aimlessly, and I remembered I've not lowered my stance, because with the other cars, when I lowered my stance, it just made the car too unstable for me to make it viable as a racing kind of thing to do. But after lowering the stance on this car, I found that it wasn't too bad. It was manageable. It wasn't as twitchy, definitely not as twitchy as the S2, and it didn't have the understeer of the Coleco when you lower that. So I was thinking to myself, what? Let's go back to the old test track and try it again with the lowered stance. You know, this is exactly the thought process that I did. I've not YouTubed you here. I've been grumbling with this all morning, trying to figure it out. I spent more time than I should have trying to get things in place. But the acceleration's better. It's a better car when the stance is lowered, which the acceleration should be better with all these Los Santos tuners cars, except for that crash there. Ignore that, but I think the handling it isn't looking too bad. So maybe there's hope for this car after all. So let's speed it up, shall we? So here we are, home at last. The test track then. The acceleration is pretty sweet. The cornering's good. I mean, there's a bit more twitchiness to it for sure, but it's manageable. You know, I'm feeling more positive about this, and the more laps I've been doing with the lowered stance, it didn't take many to get your eyes in, to be quite honest. And yeah, the cornering is still good. It's still good. I mean, the cornering has been good on this car, but I like this. It's a great looking car, and to see it performing the way it should be now. I've got rid of the niggles. You know what? I should have just googled it on Reddit, because this will all be in there somewhere. But I like to do these things myself. There we go. Look at that. 57.7 seconds. That is ridiculous. I mean, I'm shocked. Let's compare it to the other cars. It's above the S2. It's above the Calico, and it's below the RS Classic for sure. It's quite a way off the RS Classic, so it's still not competitive there. But if you don't have any Los Santos Tuners cars, then you want to have won this already. But unfortunately, I'm releasing this on Monday, so if you don't already have one win under your belt, then it's hopeless. But if you have one win under your belt, then get on it. Oh, one thing I haven't mentioned here is the exhausts. They're terrible. And let's have a look at the engine modifications as well. Here they all are in their glory. I think none of them are worthwhile for me. But then the struts, I did like these struts. These are nice with the two tones. Yeah. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put the tyres on, these non-slip tyres, low grip tyres, and we're going to see if it can drift, because one YouTuber was cracking off about maybe it drifts, but he did not unhelpfully put a video on. So I have only watched one YouTuber video on this, and it was all about customization options rather than racing, unfortunately, so I wasted my time entirely on that. So let's see if it drifts. I'm not a drifter, as you can tell. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's quite controllable with the low grip tyres. You can't race it for sure, but you can drive it. So you could drive it around town nicely if you've got. I'm working on joypad here, so I've got my mate's joypad, and as long as you're not putting the hammer down with the accelerator, it's not going to slip too much. So yeah, it's a possible drifter, possible, but I wouldn't put it up there amongst the best for sure, because there are better cars like the Futo. I prefer the Futo for drifting, maybe the Warrener. So there's my drifting analysis. So let's take it in a race, shall we, and see how it does, because that is what I'm most interested to see if it is competitive. Alright, Rat fans, I'm going to show you a full race here, because I think you deserve to see it, how I race. I've taken it a bit cautiously, new car, and I couldn't find a track that I'm comfortable with. There's only two I think that I'm any good at in the street race series, but the street race is the best to represent racing characteristics. People still bump, you know, it's a street race. People still have that annoying behaviour. See, I know one shortcut there, so I'm not too bad at this. I'm keeping up with, so I'm in 5th here, and I'm pretty much keeping up with the guy in front, and I think the other two guys are pretty good. Unfortunately, there's nobody who's on the same level as me, I don't think, in this race. But nevertheless, cornering, it's excellent. You put your foot down and it does accelerate nicely. Naturally, other cars are going to still get away with you, such as the Calico, the RS, which are going to be faster. But I mean, maybe not the RS on the cornering, but I think you'll keep up with the Coleco on the cornering. That's where you'll make ground on those. It's not out of the question that you'll be able to beat people in those cars, but I think you might be relying on them being a bit less good at racing or racing on that particular track than yourself. So I think it's competitive. Like if you oh, that is terrible, look out into the wall. If you do not have a Los Santos Tuners car, then, and this is on discount, yeah, I'd probably still think about, to be quite honest, I'd just get the RS. I'd save up a bit more and get the RS, and that's going to be the best car for you, because I think it's got good handling, and it's got the acceleration, the kind of speed. It carries the speed through the corners, and it's a little bit more forgiving, I think. As what I found. Actually, is it more forgiving? It might be on the same level, to be quite honest, but I found that the RS tended to spin out with the competition suspension, but the RS I put on sport suspension, and it may well be similar, to be quite honest. But I found there was a few occasions when I was spinning here. If I can find one, that'd be quite handy while I'm talking about this bit. But as long as you know the track, you know the track, and you get in the corners well, I think you can compete. This is the first time I've been through this shortcut. I'm following the guy in front, and I didn't do too well with it, did I? So nicely done there. Let's go into this corner. So not too bad. Bit worse on that one. I've still not figured out that corner yet. So yeah, it's a good car. It's like, if you can win it on the prize ride and you've still got that potential, then crack on. Bear in mind as well, I figured out something new this week. Unfortunately, I figured it out too late. That if you're working on PC and you do my trick where you kick yourself into a solo session trick, so you're suspending your internet. So I'll put a link in the description. If you do that trick, then you'll kick yourself into a solo race, so you'll win the pursuit race every time ultimately. And I've noticed that modders have been friendly modders have been doing that on at least 2 occasions to me, maybe 3, where they'll kick everybody in the race into a solo race, so everybody gets first place. So there are some good modders out there doing the old tricks. So you might come across them if you're still trying to win this car for the prize ride. If you are trying to win it, then go ahead. The other thing about it as well that I didn't mention is, if you're going from road to grass, it doesn't slip out like the S2 tends to do. So it's better than the S2 on that kind of cornering. And I think it is a bit more stable than the S2, which is a bit twitchy at times. So overall, which is best? Well, let's have a look at it, shall we, and see. Bear in mind, on that race, I was racing against a couple of plebs, so the guys that were behind me were in standard cars from the looks of it, and they gave up. And the winner deserved it much better, but I wasn't too far off, 14 seconds by the end. But I was keeping up with the Tailgater S for a lot of it. If I was better at racing, I'd have beat them. So these are my concluding thoughts then. It's done really well, surprisingly well on the test track. When you lower the stance, that's the condition you need to meet. And you need to have competition suspension as well. But I think it performs a hell of a lot better than any of the other cars I've tested so far. Let's have a look at the table to refresh which cars I have tested, shall we? Now, it's placed at number 4, above the Comet S2, and I think they're probably on a par when you take into account the performance of the two. And it is above the Coleco, but I think that's mainly because I don't know how to drive the Coleco to its best. So I think the Coleco would still probably win it in a race. As well as that, the RS Classic is a better car for racing for sure as well. So the question, is it worth it? Well, I'd say if you're going to purchase the car, maybe if it's on discount, but I'd question that, and I'd say you're better off saving up the extra and getting the Sultan RS, because I think it performs better in races, and ideally try and get the discount on the RS as well. But if you're getting it for the prize ride, then do keep on doing the prize ride, and as I mentioned earlier, do that trick so you can guaranteed get the prize ride by suspending your internet. So yeah, if that's helped, then do drop a like and subscribe. Give me a comment on your thoughts on the car and my analysis. Thank you very much for watching, and have a happy Monday.